Hello again. I hope we're doing well. This is our third attempt to record this, so hopefully no burping mid recording and we get going well. Um, we have 60 people in the Italian Tabletop Simulator tournament. So, what I'm going to do really quickly is take a quick look at all 60 lists in one go by myself because, you know, why not? So, let's start with, and I will get your handle name pronounced wrong, guaranteed. We've got Nubby with a Separatists fleet. As we may or may not know, they're allowing unreleased cards and unreleased ships as long as they've been spoiled. So he's got the Rusicant Support Destroyer with all the squad pushing upgrades. He's got his boosted comms, expanded hangar bays, making use of those dual offensive retrofits, LTTs, flight controllers, Rune Hako, and Kraken. So he gets whatever dice he wants, which actually has this ship. Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. Because we're not going to do this for every fleet, and this is admittedly me taking longer than usual. But I just can't remember what this thing looks like. Rusicant Support Destroyer. Is that the one he's actually got? Yes, yes, it is. Why are there two? Let's presume it's this one. So he'll go up to 4 squadrons, 5 because he's been stealing tokens. He's got a fantastic defensive suite. So yeah, that's and pretty good long range. Like, so everything is throwing 3 red dice because that's what battleships do, right? Hard sell battle. Yeah, so that is 12 long range red dice out of the list. So lots of red. Droid TIE fighters to keep those pesky fighters off them, and just blow you up with red dice. Very cool. Let's move words down to the very end because we may or may not need it. So then we've got Matteo Andrini, Breaking Mind. Again, sorry about the pronunciation. Another separatist, except this time with General Grievous. So we've got the Providence, the Invisible Hand, so that's the one that you can dump out the squadrons. Intel Officer, Hyperwave Signal Boost, so just one squad command, drop them all, and then just, I'll do other things over here. Advanced Projectors. How good is this thing? Let's pull her up. Thanks again to Armada Warlords for having this stuff. So, yeah. Providence Carrier Class. 2 black flak, confetti dice everywhere, and okay token upgrades. Like, it has many really. Yep. But. So, hyperwave signal boost, leading shots, yeah, and assault concussion missiles. So you do not want to get close to this thing. It has it has leading shots for fixing its dice, and it probably wants to salvo you some more with that confetti salvo, as much as a Super Star Destroyer. Out its back. It's got a Muni, because why wouldn't you? And one damn poor. Wait, what? Stealing shields from Grievous' ship? Of course he is. Makes perfect sense to me. Hondo on a hard sell, and then we've got DBS 404 to 404 your ship's hull. Prophylactic, and yeah, interesting. Like, this does seem like an Alpha Strike Squadron Ball, and then he doesn't care because he's doing Grievous things with his flagships, and maybe they get the hyperwave signal boost, maybe they don't. Who knows? Who can tell? An interesting list. Fairly balanced, but keeping those vulnerable droid fighters away. Sebastian, Demi. Sorry about that. So 2 glad ones. Iden, Thrawn, Montferrat, assault concussion missiles on one, expert shield techs, I want to say, in the support slot on the other. Huh. So actually, what is that? That is I'm trying to think what is that? Expert to artillery. Yeah, that's Ordnance Experts, James, you muppet. I do apologize. So, Ordnance Experts on both, uh, auxiliary, shield techs. I saw concussion missiles on the Demolisher, Iden Versa on the Demolisher, Thrawn. Okay, and then we've got an Architons, two Gazantes, Darth Vader, Mark Steele, two Lambdas. How big is this guy? Okay. 394. So we've got some strategic shenanigans going on here. So yeah. So that is an MSU 5 activation, strategic shenanigans. It could be a very interesting one. Next, LTT. Agate Heaven and the RAF something. Okay. So Agate, Assault Frigate, fairly survivable, set up for gallant havening and commanding squads, a CR-90, a Biggs ball with a lot of X-Wings. So you're not going to beat it in a squadron fight. It's going to be very, very hard to take down that Assault Frigate Mark II. And the Corvette is going to annoy you forever. It's passing tokens. So the assault frigate is going to have all the tokens in the world between two boosted comms, or two. They're not boosted comms. So yeah, the assault frigate should murder your squads. Then the transports to push the bombers, and then Tantive to pass the tokens. And you've got Hondo. Interesting and very kind of rugged squadron ball. Very rugged altogether. And then Gold Squadron to finish off. Very tough list. David Pleat, another Agate, MC30 this time, Foresight, and Agate. That seems like a tough one to get around. Got the reinforced blast doors in case you ram it a bit, expanded launchers because it's just gonna do those damage out the front. You do not want to get double arced repeatedly by this thing. And it's going to be very hard to shoot with anything that aren't squadrons. Two GR75s, a hammerhead with jam for making your day less good, a YT 2400 so those squads can't get at you. And yeah, so not a lot of ship killing power in the squads, but definitely enough to keep that MC30 flying. So it does seem to depend a lot on the MC30. Interesting to see whether Dan wants to go first or second. Jay Palamani, I have no idea, Jason. Sorry again about your username. Onager, you're a bad person. Onagers with double intel officers. Enough squads that if you don't have squads, those onagers are out deploying you. Darth Vader, because, the intel officer had already been used by the time he murders them. He knows where the rebel fleets are. He just uses his bones to grind his grist. Yeah, not nice. Not nice. The orbital bombardment cannon is the red one, right? Oh, my brain working so well. Fairly sure that's the red one. Yes, it is. I'm not mad. So two red beam onagers on the cheap with ordnance experts, veteran gunners, and engine techs. These are very, very well built onagers, solid, and I don't want to play against them. But we shall see. A very solid onager list. So we have because it's an Italian tournament, it must feature liberties. That is the rule. So we've got Moncarn all tricked out at 159 points, hard to kill due to Agate. We've got a Neb B who's got Vanguard, auxiliary shield teams, enhanced armament. Okay, so this is a double arcing Neb with a salvo token. In fact, is he going to just use Agate for another salvo token? And is this a mad, crazy salvo list? Could be. He's got the Wedge, Dutch, Lando, Hera. That's a nice little combo. And then we have a GR75 just for handing out points, handing out pair tokens. It's an interesting one. That is one very expensive Nebulon B though. But okay, it'll be interesting to see how it does. It's currently ranked 12th. How many games? One. No. This list is this. Maybe need to get this updated. Let's see what Alessandro has. Just to see how this is doing. Okay, so he hasn't played yet. So we will find out in due course. But yeah, an interesting list. I feel like those ships might be a bit more vulnerable than they seem. But it's a Neb with a redirect and a salvo. So I'm not sure. Definitely interested to see it on the table. Louis Andre Saint Laurent. So this is a far better player than me. Interdictor, Quasar, Constantine. Right. Okay. I honestly don't know what he's doing, but he is a far better player than me, so Constantine is 23 points. He's got a squad ball of hell, which has Bosk, Marek, Saber, Jendon, and Mauler Mythal with flight controllers. So that Quasar can do work. You're not getting away from those squadrons, so you're going to have to face them. So if you're in your MC30, you can't do the normal run away. If they can alpha strike your squadrons and you don't have a big ball, you're in a lot of trouble. But yeah, and the heavy ion emplacement, so interdictor. It's an interdictor suppression refit. Okay, I really don't know what he's doing here, but I presume it is terrifying to face. Constantine Agri squadrons, though. Dan Redmond, Dread. So we've got another Agate list. Starhawk with Agate, Unity, Expert Shield Techs, Will Explicit, so good bit of defensive tech. LTT, it's the Mark II, so it's got the red flak, because as we should have all learned at this point, red flak LTT, tis the fucking bomb. Yeah, and then he's got just Shara, Rogue Squadron, Corrin, and YT-2400s. I presume Shara ties down problem squads so the YTs can pick them apart, and Corrin can get rid of like that Janors or whatever. And then we don't have the Magnite on the Starhawk. So that's not what he's trying to do. He's probably just getting rid of the squads so his Starhawk can bully anyone they want. And I would say it's quite effective at getting rid of the squads with the red LT flak. Anyway, moving along. So here is one of the tournament organizers with his Palpatine list, which I've yet to play against. We have some disagreements over why those are aggressors and not, defenders, which are the same cost or similar cost, right? Right. Just making sure this is where, so aggressors are 16 points, defenders are also 16 points. His argument is they have rogue, which is fair, I suppose. But from my mind, I just wonder about whether they should be defenders. But anyway, so it's Palp on a victory 2, and then Intel Officer everywhere, and Palpatine, and it's just expect to have no defensive tokens, I would guess. Very good player. It's not a well-seen Admiral, but like I wouldn't underestimate him. Luke Woodward. Marg Sable. So basically, this is the Clone Wars thing where you hold everything back. You've already seen it tried once or twice on Master of the Fleet, who have example videos of this type of maneuver. Hold it in the rapid launch base, the ships take the hit, and then the clones pop out in their starfighters and murder what's left. Bail Organa to try and keep people alive, but I like how he is nowhere near anything. He's on the consular, away from all this whole messing. But then again, I suppose that's where Bail Organa normally is on the consular. Interesting one. Very alpha strikey, but a big danger there if an acclimator gets taken out early by an onager before it can discourage those arcs. 1,000 eyes. Winner of one of the recent tournaments, I believe. So Starhawk, Corvette A, 2 transports, and the A-Wing family, along with a what is the word I'm looking for? Honorary A-Wing in a YT-2400. It's got the Magnite crystal tractor beam, got an low enough bid, or not that big a bid, so maybe he's not too bothered. Does have 4 activations, which will, it'll see out more, and he potentially does stand a good chance of getting a first last. But a very dangerous list. That's Starhawk again. We've got the Mark II. We've got the red linked Turbo Laser Towers flak, which is always murder. And along with Chara Bay, Tycho, and a lot of A-Wings for just grinding down squadrons. War. What is he good for? A General Kraken list. So we've got 2 CR90s, a Neb B Salvation, a Neb B Vanguard, and an MC30. Okay. So, yeah, it goes fast. Hopefully it doesn't run into the Constantine list. I would worry about those Neb Bs, how expensive they are to squadrons with no squadron support. Because they've also got turbo laser reroute circuits rather than LTTs. But I would consider the LTTs in at least some cases. But it does have Liberator and Intensify Firepower. For that one turn of like, we're going to shoot you now a lot. Kingspad. I have no idea how we pronounce that. I do apologize, Lee. So we've got Bail Organa again. We've got a Venator. I think this is our first Venator. 90 points. Bail, Clone Gunners, our Clone Navigation Honors, Gunnery Teams, Swivel Mounts, Assault Concussion Missiles, and Intensify Firepower. So this is going to throw a lot of stuff down range. Let's see. This is the Veni 1. So yeah, it's going to be throwing 3 red and probably a black downrange, concentrating fire, and doing it twice. And then you've got the Assault Concussion Missiles if it does hit. Then we've got an Avota B for pushing lots and lots of Y-Wings. With the new officer that I completely forget what she does, but it's got the LTT, so it's, and we've got more Assault Concussion Missiles. So the Venator starts her off, and then we've got more from the other 2 acclimators. So like, you do not want to get close to these things. And from long range, I'm not sure you're having that much of a good time either. And there's always the intensify firepower for just and LTTs. So the acclimator's damage is going to be fairly reliable. Michelle, I have no idea what your handle is, but your fleet is Architons, Gazanti, Onager, and Simoon. Presume there's a Romit. Yeah, there's the Romity on the Onager. Sunder, so you're just attempting to rip stuff off, which isn't something that we see being done. You have the Vader set up. So yeah, like I would not. You need to get into this thing quickly, or you're in a lot of trouble. And even if you do come in, there is a lot of dice coming your way. Good big bid, dangerous, dangerous. Okay, next list. How are we doing for time? This is taking longer than we thought. Speed up. Terminator Captain, one of Italy's finest. We've got an onager with Jerry, Sunder again, ordnance experts, engine techs for getting away, so catching that onager is tough. And then we've got a second onager. Both of these are test beds, both of these are engine techs. Yeah, they are going to be slippy as all get out. Slippy as all get out. And then a small ball for tying you up and causing you problems. Dangerous, dangerous list. Eric Carey, so you're just mean. So he is taking advantage of the cheap nature of the medical frigates and disguised, in fact, mine-laying frigates and medical frigates in contravention of all known rules of warfare. He's going to put out 12 proximity mines. Then if you let him go second, he may in fact use minefields, I'm guessing. You'll be playing whack-a-mine for a long time. Proximity mines probably needs to be limited to 2 or 3. Bring Jaina's light, people. Bring Jaina's light. Ow. Right. Darts Dom, Onager, Testbed, Architons, Romedy. Yep. Raquel. So not shooting you turn 1. Otherwise, fairly standard early warning system, so that is a tough onager to kill. But other than that, we're all good. Xanthos 1159, who left the city in charge? I'd like the list name. Providence with Kraken, Reserve Hangar Bay, Token Sealer Guy, ECMs and Intensify Firepower, a Muni, a Hard Cell Battle Class, and a Hard Cell Transport. This and some Tri-Fighters to keep people alive. 2 Reserve Hangar decks. Or am I missing one? Quad battery turrets on the Munis, so it's getting more used with Intensify Firepower. I mean, it has more dice, so it has a higher damage ceiling. It's not getting the same amount of flak, but maybe that'll work. You are throwing again a lot of red dice, and with the Muni or the sacrificial foreman's labor, you're getting those accuracies. So the anti-ship fire between Kraken and Intensify Firepower is going to be tough. Dart Wraith. Another Agate. Star Cruiser. Transport. Foresight. And yeah, tough to kill. Minimum fighter screen. I would not like to try and kill that Foresight. The Jane's Light is fine and standard, and the MC80. So out activate you. Come in, blow up the carriers quick. Standard Star Cruiser, Mon Karen stuff. Plo Clune Go Italia, I think. Again, Mon Karen, make your day bad. Except this time it's backed by Home 1. So yeah, there is the home one, the assault cruiser, is there, and it has reactive gunnery. So it's like, you want to shoot the assault cruiser, you go right ahead, because that battle cruiser is getting, so it's got DTTs. Yeah, that is a scary enough battlecruiser with the Intel Officer and Mon Carin. So you get to spend one token. It's probably, if it's the best token, it's getting discarded. And it's got, a torpedo frigate just hanging around just in case. All ships, all the time. Squadrons, who knows what they are. Xanthor's Italian fleet. Simoon 1. Take evasion action. Tarkin, Krennic. Sovereign. So yeah. That's take evasive action, get your maneuverable demolisher with your assault concussion missiles, and 2 Gazantes to push it around a little bit of a squad screen. Dangerous enough. I think if that guy goes down, he might be in trouble, but he is a good bid. So maybe it's dependent on the objectives and the stuff we're not seeing there, but interesting list. Skippo 88, Bail Organa, Acclamator, Consular, Torrents plus Jedis plus Jedi sidekicks. We've got reserve hangar bays, so those turrets will be around forever. And the Acclamators really, really, really need to do the work. That Consular is dangerous, but feeding basically tokens is its main job, I would say. Jacob Kent discarded muffins. Simoon 1, Simoon 1. Romedy Simoon's scary things. Commander Vanto, Ejection Experts, Redundant Shields. Yeah, that'll get you at long range every time. And the Simoons should be able to get to the onagers fast enough before they explode, and then make the onagers explode. Giovanna Testa. So I've played this list. Great fun opponent, 2 victories and an onager test bed. It's got a really high bid. And yeah, those victories are surprisingly dangerous. Tarkin, Gladiator 1, Imperial 2, and if a fighter ball of doom with Jendon, Steel, Sienna Ray, Mauler, and Saber, along with fire sprays. So very kind of heavy. I'm not sure getting that much out of Tarkin. But obviously I could be wrong. Maybe it's just squadron tokens and everybody is pushing squadrons. Lord Zell, Throne, Imperial Simoon, Kuat, so double Star Destroyers, a Knight's Light fighter screen, except there's Marek in there, and like if the opponent is squadless, Marek will eat their small ships for breakfast. We've got Commander Vanto and Captain Nita. So the Kuat is light, nimble, and got a good defensive suite. It's all about just getting that Kuat there with that. Meanwhile, the Simoon is just plucking away at whatever that Kuat's headed for. So do you deal with the long range threat? Do you deal with the short range threat? Interesting double punch. Henry B. Emperor. Hawk 2, Task Force Hawk 2, and it's an Imperial one though. So Simoon again, everyone loving their Simoons, spinal arguments, reactive gunneries on it, nice. It's a pity spinals don't work with Salvo, but XI7s do. Minister Tua. The gunnery team's reactive gunnery, you need to take a look at how that one interacts. Flight controllers, Dengar, Howl Runner, and a bunch of ties. So just murder the opposing screen and if they don't have an opposing screen, well, they're TIE fighters. They're not going to do too much, but we're not going to worry about it because we can expand it hangar back one or two of them if they die due to flak. And an Architons then to pump up that Simoon. Tony Cameron, Imperial 2, Quasar, Sloan, Relentless rather than Avenger. Seems like that makes a good bit of sense. It gives you a bit more of a nimble Star Destroyer in what you want to do. Let's say all your fighters get wiped out, or you think you're actually going to need your Quasar gets blown up and you need to change to a squadron command fairly fast. Pursuant, and then flight controllers, expanded hangar bays, boosted comms. Fairly standard Sloan with an IST-2, come to eat your breakfast. Maldor 888, Italian Radis. Very good player here. So we've got Radis on an MC-30 with Lando, reinforced blast doors, foresight. Very defensive ship because it wants to get in fast and drop that ordnance cruiser where it goes. Then we've got ordnance cruiser has profundity, the hammerhead that it's dropping has Cham and a CR-90A. So yeah, this 5-point bid is okay, but out activates most things in this tournament. So that basically you can wait and wait and wait with that 30 and then just get in, where he's only going to take maybe one or two ships and maybe the squadron ball wherever he wants to go, and then more than likely ordnance cruiser is showing up on turn 2. In your face, it's showing up on turn 2. Brian Pierce, Imperial class Star Destroyer, Thrawn, Chimera, and they have the entrapment formation as it's a cheap one, Gladiator 1 and a Gladiator 1. So Demolisher and then just another one, and then Ace Ball to try and keep everybody alive. So does a lot of shooting. Solid ships, solid firepower. Interesting. Mac large package. I've played against this. It is horrific if you play against it wrong, because good luck killing anything in it if you don't know what you're about. I barely got the win, and that was only because an X-wing managed to roll a hit on the last hit. Max also run his own tournament. Great opponent, very defensive fleet. Ben Riddle, so he's got modified Peltas, 2 of them, with an all fighters follow me and a take evasive action. He's got Mon Cairn loaded to bear, and he's all the B-wings. So this looks like it could either go one or two ways. They brought squadrons or they didn't bring squadrons. And if they didn't bring squadrons, that could be problematic. Yeah, all the B-wings. Ice Becker 2007, MC30, 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 and bunch of stuff that does well. One VCX 100, very nice for just messing with those tokens. So maybe he has capture the VIP, grabs it, turn 1, Vex off if he doesn't like the matchup. Things like that. But VCXs can stick around, you know. APTs, long range, always nice. And yeah, so it's a Sado list, and it could be quite interesting. I'd love to see Spinals on those scouts for the double arc, but since you can't proc APT twice anymore, maybe it's not worth it. Russell Banks, the other Irish entry, 2 Starhawks. Yeah, 2 Starhawks is horrifically terrifying, particularly when they've both got LTTs, tractor beams, yeah, on one. Like 2 Magnite crystal arrays. Who'll go first? Who'll go second? Who'll eat you for lunch? It's hard to know. And we've got Amnesty and Concord. So it is the pair that took down the SSD. Matt Stubbington, IST2, Quasar, Sloan, and some fighters. Okay, so 2 ship. Valadin, our own mod creator. All the B-Wings. 2 Acclimators, and a Bomber Command Center on the Pelta. So basically, lots and lots of B-Wings that reroll lots and lots of dice and murder you for breakfast. Taylor Hay, Lard Aldous, I've also played him. It is a very, very scary list because that battle cruiser and that torpedo frigate probably out-activate you in a lot of cases, and you're just scared of where they're going to come in. He's got the 20-point vid, so he gets to decide who's going first or who's second. Agate again on a Hawk. This is 1-3-4 squadrons. It does not have the Magnites, which would be the one thing I'd try and fit in there. He does have Adar Talon, but I think the Magnites might be the better 10 points here. Particularly when he does not have Lando. Like, for 1 point more, you'd get Lando for either of these two. And I think Lando is a better choice. But, you know, it still will, that Starhawk will not be easy to take down. And that Squadron Ball is not to be messed with. And it's a Mark II with LTT, so it's got the supporting flak the whole time. Ian Franklin, Galaris from the Ireland UK Facebook group. So Gazanti Quasar with Shiranu. Ooh, does he have? Yes, he's Mauler Mittel to move around. So Shiranu lets you move him even though he's engaged, and then he'll burn you down. Colonel Jendon, Mark Steele, Tempest, 2 TIE Defenders, Sabre Squadron, and Suntier Fell. So, would you like to shoot Mar Mittel, who's going to go again? And who is Scatter? Or would you like to shoot Shuntar Phil, who's shooting you if you're shooting anybody but him? No Cataclysm on the Onager, but it does have the engine techs, and it has ECMs, so it will be getting that brace with its big giant hull. So, not to be messed with. That fireball is kind of terrifying, and it's an Onager, so it's always a little bit worrying. Jake Lucas, First Fleet, Acclimator 1, Acclimator 2, Consular, and Arcs and Aether Sprites. So those are 5 generic Aether Sprites. I'm not sure. That's 85 points in 4 hull. And I thought Dodge worked against Flak. It does not. And that kind of has me a bit concerned about how much points is in there. Particularly if we go back to the Mark Steele, who's moving around with Shirnu. That seems terrifying for that list to face. But could be good. It'd be interesting to see. I haven't actually played against generic Aether Sprites, so I can't judge them too harshly. Agate, Starhawk, 1-3-3 in squads, doesn't have the Magnites. Francesco Rosilli. Matthew King, Agate, 55, MC30, and a Corvette A. So this still seemed to always be like, if we're going with a Starhawk and we're not going with the max squads, we always seem to be seeing torpedo frigates and CR90s to go along with them. Particularly Jaina's Light is nice because you can hide behind the Starhawk and shoot like over your mum's shoulder. Pew 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 pew. But again, great opponent. I played him in the Cardiff TTS, the Firestorm Games tournament. Very good opponent. Ragnar 1688. He has Ravager. And yeah, as Valadin pointed out with this list, he can just one-shot a medium ship from medium range. One shot, no bother, blat. you're dead. But yeah, fair play for being an SSD, and that is a dangerous looking SSD. Artemis Siri. So we've got a Glad 1, Demolisher, Skilled First Officer, Medical Team, APTs, and Ordnance Expert. So cheap enough Demolisher. Then we've got Darth Vader following along, and then we've got an ISD2 with Vanto. So like the Skilled First Officer is does seem to be just for Vader fodder. Not sure you Vader Vanto often, but probably can in clutch, and then a whole bunch of stuff to throw at people and try and murder their squadron screen for Sloan. We're getting through. We're almost done. And my voice is fading. I do have 5 ship Screed Onager. Well, thank you for Murnak for the succinct list description. Decaps, heavy ion placements. Oh, where is the Vader? Oh, there's the Vader for murdering those Skill First officers. So yeah, you get hit with 2 disposable capacitors, and it's almost guaranteed that both are going to go off in your face. And you've got a Gladiator 1 with Demolisher and Assault Concussion Missiles. So goodbye shields, goodbye yellow brick shields. Nida on the Onager to replace the salvo, Sensor Team for the accuracy, for getting rid of those pesky scatters and evades, and yeah, an Orbital Bombardment Particle Cannon. And that has the Admiral 3 upgrades and comes in at 134 points. Totally fair. Then we've got Tel and the TIE Fighters just to buy us enough time to blow up the enemy. That's actually fairly terrifying. And part of me is like, do you need Screed? Is this not a better Romedy list? Because then your Raider 2s are hiding behind stuff. Disposable capacitors. You're glad. Murnak, I am gonna like take this list and save it somewhere because I do want to try this in Romedy. I really like this list. Acclimators with proximity mines and new Tarkin. Assault proton torpedoes. Ordnance experts. So yeah, do it all to the hull and hope for the best. Because you've got swivel mounts. So you've got the proximity mines and the swivel mounts, and you're just doing hull at long range. Bang, bang, bang. Hope for the best. So we'll see how we go. Russell Long, Architons, Ozzel. Okay, so you're very, very hard pressed to catch those Architons. They'll be able to just drop to 0 and not worry about it and speed back up. A lot of red dice, and then Bosk, Monarchy, Tel, and Decimators. So Tel is there to kind of keep everybody else alive, and then the rogues come hunt you down. Roland Hansen, Count Dooku. So this is his list from the Clone Wars tournament and the Vassal World Cup. He is deadly dangerous with it. If you don't do this right, those squads are going to eat you alive. If he comes up against heavy squads, he could be in trouble, but very, very good. The main Danish representative, but lovely player. Caribbean Ninja, Romedy Onager, Emperor Palpatine on it. So when you do get to it, well, if you had any defense tokens left, you don't now, and now I'm going to salvo you. So cry me a river. Yeah, that's a nasty Onager. Gunnery Chief for 1 million, Cataclysm. We've got Nida on an Architons. We've got Hondo. I am shocked. We've got Darth Vader. We've got a Gladiator, and we've got 6 TIE Fighters for tying you up. So yeah, very dangerous. Boba Fett, always dangerous to face. He just beat the living daylights out of me in a Rebellion of the Rim. Interdictor, Quasar, and Sloan. So targeting scramblers and grab shoot re-rift. I'm guessing those objectives that he has are fairly dangerous, and he gets to control the battlefield because Interdictor. Alex Jamal, Jammers, Starhawk with B-Wings as a defensive squadron, or Murder You If You Have None. Interesting. Derlin. The B-Wings are not going to go slower than the Starhawk, let's be clear. Corvette A with Ezra. Killing that Starhawk is not going to be easy. Two very defensive officers, like any 2 damage shot, Derlin and Expert Shield Techs just make go away. Got the Magnite, also got the Pylons, so it's very hard to come in fast. Got Overload Pulse, which is mean, particularly if they get to go first and then you try and shoot them. What are you going to do? Your salvos, or their salvo attacks, are going to be bad. Very tricky list to take down, I would suggest. Machete. I'm sorry about the pronunciation again. Addictor and 2 donkeys. Onager, Onager, and an Interdictor. When you get close to them, the target and scramblers mean you can't kill them, and they're shooting you from long range. And there's Darth Vader for murdering cheap officers. Cool story, also dangerous. Very dangerous list. Yugoslavia, DNB, Akbar, MC-80, Assault Frigate, CR-90, and BCX. So you don't want to make them go second just in case, because I'm guessing they have advanced gunnery and 2 strategic type thingy Mawatsits. Could be a bit vulnerable to squads, but otherwise very, very dangerous list. Ramadi, Kittens, Gazanti, and an Onager. Where is Darth Vader and 3 skilled first officers are my only question. But they're all intel officers. So yeah, that is a lot of, did you like your defense tokens? There's 4 intel officers. So yeah, that could be problematic for anybody involved. And you're not hiding from this list. So it's fairly dangerous. Nick Dutchvander. So we've got a Hawk Mark 1, Magnites, Unity, Expert Shield Techs, Blissix, all the Rogues, and Shara, Gold Squadron, X-Wing. So decent Squadron Ball, a Corvette A, and a Starhawk. And not enough points for Jaina's Light, but other than that, it's a Starhawk with Agate. It is dangerous. We have said a lot of Starhawk with Agate. I might have broken those variations of my vocal cords at this point. MC75 with Agate, because, well, MC75 does really need that third actual real token. Aspiration, ECMs, expanded launchers, external racks, no, and Kicking and Sholin. So yeah, that is a lot of black dice out the front. And Admo Torpedo Frigate for more dice. This is in all likelihood your Flotilla Murder, Salvation, and then we have Parts Free Supply. Part of me is like, I'm wondering why that's not munitions resupply. And there's no Ahsoka. And A-Wing, the A-Wing group and Rogue Squadron for keeping you alive. Cynical Bobcat, Super B Carrier Mark 2.5, MC-80 Command Cruiser. All the flight thingies plus reactive gunnery, because why not? Why not indeed? Pelta with Ramus. Okay, how many B-Wings? Yeah, 4 B-Wings. I didn't even look down, and I was like, it's 2 fighter coordination teams. These are all B-Wings. All fighters follow me and a boosted comms. Bomber Command, Tor and Fire to split them up, so if one dies, the other keeps on chugging along. And yeah, B-Wings. I would not like to be flying a no squadron list against this thing. Then we have Agate with rogues. We do not have the Magnite on this. And then we have this Troublemaker. So this is, if you remember, I built an E-Wing list. To be fair, the bones of this list is borrowed from a game against Yik, who was running something similar, except he had different Turbo Lizard set up. He didn't have Adar Talon. Lando was actually on a ship, and the squad ball was much different. But any wins to this list, kind of a small, maybe huge part, have to go to Yik for any wins. But yeah. And let's take a quick gander at the standings. That's still up to date. Let's make sure. Let's click away and make 100% sure, because I'm fairly sure I saw the number update differently. Duck to steal strategy. I think this is right. I'm listed as 2, so something has gone wrong there. But anyway, yeah, I've managed to get my 3 games in. But there are a lot of games in. But I'd ignore me. I will be eclipsed with that 23 quite easily. Use it 2-0. So 14 points from 2 games. Alistair. Okay, get your games in, people. So this is the Agate Ordnance Cruiser with Aspiration. So fairly unique list. Seems to be doing well. And that is kind of it. When you do something that's kind of cool and a bit different. And guessing he knows what he's doing. Anyway, I'm not sure how much use this was to anyone for any good reason. If I've got your handle wrong, I apologize. And I hope you're all enjoying the Italian tournament.